So in series 2 of Grow Cook Eat, we grew about 30, maybe 40 onions. I've always wondered, what would it be like to grow 3,500 tons of onions?
Most of the onions that was consumed in Ireland were grown
here, yeah.
And there was a huge tail off when the 80s and 90s came, and so we were left with only 1 or 2 growers in this country.
Okay.
And we thought, well, maybe there's an opportunity here to grow and pack the onions. In 2005, we grew our first crops. It's relatively straightforward in the growing of the crop, but it's when you come to harvest time, you need to have good weather. And it's to try and get that window to do that job. Yeah. It's getting more difficult.
More temperamental.
More temperamental.
Yeah.
In some years, you may not be able to harvest the crop at all.
When that all-important weather window comes, they get pulled out of the ground and left on top of the soil for a further 3 days. It's really important that they don't get wet at this stage. Next in the process, they are brought into giant stores and put through a quality and traceability check. The next process is drying them out. But the big question is, how do you dry this amount of onions? Oh wow, like a wall of heat just hit me there.
So at the back of this store we have a big fan with a gas burner, heats the air up, takes the humidity out of it, is pumping the air through these bins. Air comes out, hits the sponge, there's nowhere for it to go, only up into the bin, and it dries the onion.
Okay.
It's a simple process like that. It can take about 28 days.
The scale of this is obviously immense.
Yes.
So there's even more to this process.
They're put into the individual bins, they're weighed, they have the traceability code on it, and then they go up to pack house where they have their production orders, so the team knows what's coming up, know which size to pack into which for the customer. Simple as that.
So to me, it's really, really heartening that the likes of the Hoey's, Michael and Gabriel here have not only started to grow, but they're doing it on such a huge scale. And the good news is that the whole message around growing our own food here in Ireland and producing our own onions and crops like this is starting to take hold. And the evidence of that is that there's a few more growers getting into this market, and long may that continue.